Well, hello, hi, good evening. It is Michelle Azuri, and I want to talk to my recently divorced mothers or single moms or, anyone who is trying to rebuild from a financial collapse. And it doesn't take anyone but even myself to know that when you have had a divorce, there is a time period, I'm just going to fix my collar, in which you have to rebuild financially. Because even if you make good money, you've got one less income coming in the house. And even if it wasn't one less income coming in the house, even if you had a spouse or a loved one that was in the house with you and they were watching the children, guess what? Now you're finding yourself spending a bit more money because you're wanting someone to come and help you with the children, or you're asking someone to watch them. You're, moving about, going about different things across town just to get them there. So I want to give you 5 shifts to rebuild. And I'm doing this because I know what it's like to have to rebuild financially. And it is not easy. And so I'm going to get right into it, and I'm going to do probably about a few more of these talks between this week and next week, because next week is like a big week, and I'll talk to you about the end of this particular videotaping. But when you are rebuilding financially, you are moving from survival to strategy. All of a sudden, when someone leaves the house, there's less of an income. You're trying to figure out, how do I make this all work just by myself? Now, if you're one of those women that you are able to do it all yourself, bravo to you. But there are a lot of women that are not able to do that. So I'm talking to you tonight, okay? Especially with the climate of finances in the country, people losing their jobs, and just different things that are occurring. I mean, people are being deported. Who do you think is actually was helping to pay for those bills? Yeah, I am familiar with that as well, because I am a child of an immigrant, and my ex-spouse was an immigrant. So what I want you to do is consider using the 90-day financial roadmap. This is going to help you gain control over your finances so you can rebound. And I'm saying this because a couple of things happen when you go through a divorce or there's a split in a relationship. You have to move away from emotion and you have to begin to execute. I want to remind you, you have some lives on the line, not just yours. You have your children and those who are around you that are depending on you financially. You might say, wow, why does everything have to be on me? Sweetheart, in this life, things are not always easy. And if you have been the one chosen to take the burden of responsibility, then guess what? God knows that you can handle the task, okay? So I'm going to get into what we have as a 90-day financial roadmap, and I'll talk about that at the end of this as well. But we're going to be moving from emotion to execution. You need to take time to heal, but you also have to take action. What does that mean? Healing comes in different forms. Self-care, being able to have a moment for yourself to think. I can't tell you how many times that just sitting and just being still helps so much. Whether you're reading your Bible, whether you're praying, whether you're meditating on the Word, however it works for you. If you even go to a therapist and they assist you in the direction to where you can unclutter some things that are in your mind so you can move forward, then that is what you need to do, and you need to do it quickly. If you have a job, there's EAP. If you have don't have a job, you can go, I believe, on United Way. You can find out if there are resources of someone that you can talk to, that you can just defrag so you can get into a place of motion. That is the one thing I did not do, and I wish that I did. But it's not about me, this is about you. If you're dealing with a divorce, you're dealing with any type of situation where you are now the sole provider in the household and there's children in the home, this moment is our moment to communicate with that, okay? Channel the pain into purpose. I have done that so many times. And you would be amazed how you might feel as though all the burden is on you, but I will tell you this one thing. It may seem like all of the burden is on you. However, in those moments of pain, God is talking if you listen. I am going to be holding a web class, and I had moments of pain, and it brought me into this place. Moments of pain. It is a strategy of God's. It is God's strategy to bring you into the higher places of life. And it doesn't seem or feel like it at the time, but it actually is that. And I'll share a little tidbit with you. I want to remind you of the woman who had nothing to eat, and she and her son, they were ready to die. And the prophet came. And when the prophet came, he said, "Give me the cake to eat." And he told her and gave her instructions. He said to her, "Go in your house, get your oil, get your bottles or vessels, and fill them up." That was the beginning of her oil business. And she was very, very well off after that, and could have been even more so if she had more vessels. What are we saying here? In the midst of her pain, she yielded her way to God's way. And when she did that, amazing things happened. So we're going to be talking about that as well. But in terms of emotion execution, this is something that I didn't take advantage of because I was so afraid of my financial situation that I did not automate my savings. I didn't track my spending very often and reviewed it in a weekly basis. Why is this so important? You know, if you know that your light bill is about $200 a month or $150, and you can automate that, that's one less thing for you to think about. Think of all the things that you can budget yourself and then have it automated so it automatically comes out of your bank account so you can think. It is so important for you to have less for you to think about. And I'll, talk more and go more into that as we develop our relationship with each other. But for now, this is just an introduction to some of the things that I'll be talking about within the next few months. And I'm just grateful that you all are here with me on this journey. And so I want you to begin to also think about being less dependent of others and taking ownership of your responsibilities. And again, you might say, why does it all bear down on me? That was always my question. Why do I have to be the one? Why do I have to be the one? But when you shift from relying on other people or systems, you begin to own your own income potential. Hear me really, really good. And I'll share this with you. I was so much trying to depend on child support and wasn't getting it. Didn't get it. I got it for a short period of time, and then after that it was gone. And when it came to raising my children, I would say for up until their 18 years, 15 of those years, there was no child support. And it built something within me. It built character, it built stamina, it built foundation. And you might say, why didn't you just go and get food stamps? Why didn't you just go and, let me tell you something. When you're in a position and you're moving at a pace where you do not want to fall under the I would say the risk. I would say number two, I didn't want anyone taking advantage of me and my children at all. I didn't want that for them. I didn't want it for me. I didn't want to just, be with someone to be with someone. And I surely didn't want the government involved when I was trying to make waves in my career. Just because you're divorced or, doesn't mean that you can't get a job. I had a job. And it doesn't mean that I couldn't move up the career ladder. I moved up the career ladder. And when you make a decision to stand on your 10 toes, your children are watching. Because you want to know something? The worst thing that could ever happen is for them already happened. They lost their dad in the home. So to now allow them to see mom collapse under the pressure and just allow any old person come and take advantage of her or fall under a system that is, binding and telling of what you should and should not do on a day-to-day basis. If you are that person, and I'll say this, if you're the person that is tired of that in your life, you want to move forward out of that system, you can do it. And I know it may seem like, wow, you don't understand, Michelle. You don't get it. You never had to do it. I mean, I had to have assistance when I had my last child. I didn't have insurance. Even my second child, I didn't have insurance. I had to have assistance one time many years ago when I lost my job and I was not getting child support. And for that short period of time, I got food stamps. And as soon as I told them I got a job, I let them know and they cut it off. And I have not looked back since. I have not looked back since. You want to know why? Because I don't need you. God is the source of my supply. God is the source of our supply. I hunkered down. I got in the Word. I asked God to place us in a good church. I exercised the Word. And in doing so, I've been able to see how God can move in my life without having to depend on, anyone outside of my family. My family did help me. My mom, my dad, sometimes a cousin or two, but it wasn't an everyday thing. It wasn't an every week thing. Just enough to get me back on my feet in the situation because I was trying to really just grab a hold of everything. So when it comes to, side hustles, get a solid side hustle. I'll be talking to you about a side hustle that is great. I think it's great. I've been in the same side hustle for over 10 years. And I've been growing, I've been building, and it's been a blessing financially. And of course, alongside of it, I made a decision to create a skill from it. So I went back to school and now I manufacture herbs because I made a decision that this is what I want to do because I see the longevity and it's not a fad or a trend that dies out and then I got to build back up again. And we'll talk about that later if you decide to take this journey with me. All right, let's keep going. The fourth one is scarcity to possibility. If you have a scarcity mentality, you're going to have a hard time. I had to learn to shape my mouth to say things like, I can create it, instead of I can't afford it. I remember a time when I really didn't have the money and to do some things that I needed to do. Sometimes I didn't have the money to eat. I had to put food on the table. And I had to find a way to do it. And so one of the ways is you ask God, what do I have in my home? What do I have in my home? Just like the lady we talked about in that Bible story, where, you know, the prophet came to her house and he was like, what do you have? And she says, I just have a little oil. That little bit of oil started a business. And so I'm saying, even in this situation, you may not have oil, you may not have a physical product, but there may be something in you that you have. You know, a lot of us say a lot of negative things from time to time about social media. But this is one thing you can definitely say. I have seen people go from zero to hero in content creation. And it has helped to expand them into and broaden them into other horizons. And that is, you know, that's by having a phone. Just by having a phone and turning it on and asking God for witty inventions and ideas and creativity. So this way, your mouth is no longer fixed to say, I can't afford it, but instead to say, let me see what I can do to make that happen. We got to fix our mouth, and our mind has to be fixed too. Move forward so we can see the manifestation of the things that we want. Okay? Start seeing opportunities where fear used to live. You know, sometimes people are so scared to spend money. Imagine what it would feel like if you literally said, I'm not worried about what money is going, you know, the money is dwindling down. God's going to replace that. When you have that type of confidence in God, it will carry you to places you've never been before. It will expand your horizon. It'll allow you to grow your business, your situation, just by changing how you think about money. Because if money is your only resource for you to feel as though that you can do something, just the things that you see in front of you, you got to remember that there are things that you have not seen, and the unseen things develop things that you will see. You got to catch that. You just rewind that one back and listen again. It's those unseen things. What does he say? He says in his word, I walk by faith and not by sight. I walk by faith. It is your faith that will bring you through to the next place that you need to be in this situation, in this walk, in this time. It is your faith. Where is your faith? You cannot see it. You don't see how in the world you can leave here in this country and go to another country on a plane. And between the plane and ground is just clouds and air. But you trust the pilot. You trust the pilot. But yet we don't want to trust God. You will trust the pilot to bring you up in the air, take you to Jamaica, Trinidad, Europe, Asia, Africa. But you don't want to trust him right here with your $10? Come on now. Stop playing with me. I have so many money testimonies that is unreal. And I've seen the hand of God move. And I've seen him move when he's seen me move and not think about the money. So we're going to help you with how you see things in life. Because the way you see things in life determines where you go in life. The way you see things in life determines where you go in life. Think about it. If you see yourself and allow the voices in your head to make you feel as though you're not going to make it, you just are not going to make it, baby. But if you see yourself in a car, driving down the road with the top down, tobacco seats, oh yeah, you gonna make it. You wanna know why? Because you see yourself at a higher level. I remember one day I was driving down the road to get to my house, and where we live is like, the road is like a long road, and it's like over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. And going down that road, you see roadkill, because there's deer, there's fox, there's all kinds of stuff out there. Possums, raccoons, you name it, they're out there. And you get to see the beautiful cows on the side of the road at the ranches. It's just a beautiful sight. But what's not beautiful is when it's roadkill. So I was driving one day and I was feeling a little down. And I just, within me, heard, don't look down anymore. I was passing apparently some roadkill. He said, don't look down at that. Keep your head moving forward. And in this life, when you're working and you're focused on a goal, you have to keep your head affixed to where you're going. And the vision that you saw of yourself, you have to hunker down, focus with your blinders on, and go. And a lot of people are not going to understand that. A lot of people are going to be like, wait a second, she literally cut me off. No, I didn't cut you off. I'm trying to make it to the goal that God placed and gave me steward over. Do you not know that you are a steward over what God has given you? You are. You are a steward over what God has given you. We say that often at times when we have children, that God has given us stewardship over our children, but he is the one that really takes care of the child. In this situation, if you have a business, if you have a vision that God has promised you, do you not know that you are steward over that vision to bring it to pass? And it's not about you just seeing the vision and happening. There's work to be done. There's work to be done. For the person who was married and they were abused, but you had enough insight within you to leave. You have a vision for a more stable household for you and your child. I'm speaking to you. I'm sharing with you in this moment. You are responsible for that vision to bring it to pass. So, this brings me to my last and final divorce, to.Dollars, 5 shifts moms must make to build income again. You must be free from the victim mentality. I will say it again. You must be free from the victim mentality. Far too often, We are in the woe is me. Woe is me. It happened to me. It's not fair. Redefine yourself beyond your divorce story. I knew that I was better than what I was in. I had to rise above that. And that is why, if you want to know the truth, I didn't want the child support. After a while, it was like, I don't even want it. Because I don't want any ties to anyone who's going to give me drama every month. I want peace. I want stability. Because all that does is just bring drama, if you want to know the truth. And for some people, yeah, if you're getting it, continue to take it. You know what I mean? But if you got to fight for it every month, and the person's not doing right, and they're not an example for your child, don't let anyone hold anything over your head. Build a vision board or a financial mission that reflects the woman you are becoming. If you see yourself going to work, having someone watching your children either at home as an au pair, or going to a Montessori, or going to daycare at a nice daycare where you know that they're safe, and you envision that, then you put that on your vision board. Or you put it in your financial mission and state, I want X amount of dollars to be able to pay the au pair or the Montessori or the daycare provider to watch my child, my children. If you see them in private school, if you see yourself in a nice car because you want to transport them safely, because we have to get in that mindset that, you know, that you're not deserving. You are. You're deserving to be able to transport your children and yourself where you need to go safely. And if it so happens to be in style with tobacco seats, then let it be. Let it be. But put your vision board out there. I want to take my children to Disney World. I want to get my daughter a ballerini dress. It's like a $2,000 dress. Some may say that's foolish. Others might think my child deserves it. It is all what you think in here. And how you flow and how you move and how you do is nobody's business but yours. And so that is the conclusion of our talk today. I am going to be coming back to talk to you about from divorce to dollars and the many shifts that, the 5 shifts that every mom must build. But I am going to offer to you, I think I have about 3 modules of classes that I'm going to be running between this week and next week. And at the end of those modules, you will receive a 90-day financial roadmap where I've already created a roadmap available for you. All you got to do is plug and play. It is digital, so it'll be sent to you, to your email, and you fill in the blanks. It's easy peasy. And that is a really good way to establish a financial mission for yourself. And the Word of God says, you know, that you should write it upon a tablet. And so when you write things down, it just does something within you that begins to make movement and take shape. When you see things, when you place the vision before you, it does something within you to move and take shape. I can tell you so many times. I remember I took Terry Seville's, she had a book, a workbook many, many years ago, probably about 15 years ago or more, a workbook. And it was like a vision board, but it was a journal. And I would write down in that journal all the things I was believing for. And those things came to pass. And then I began to expand it. And I began doing things like, you know, vision boards and other things and things that I'll talk about as we begin to develop our relationship. I can't tell you everything all at one time, but you all have a blessed evening. Visit us at michelleuzuri.com. We do have an upcoming web class coming up at the beginning of the month of November. I'm excited about that. And so I'm just sharing some tidbits of what our community is like. We are a community of women that we give women the opportunity to not only be moms and not have to go outside of their home to do work, but we also give the opportunity of financial freedom and to establish financial stability and generational wealth by also offering wellness to your friends and family through the offerings that we have in our business. So visit us at michelleuzuri.com. You all have a blessed evening, and I will see you soon. Bye.